Emily in Paris is lying to you? Maybe or maybe not, we're gonna see it today. Bonjour, it's Théo. If you don't know me, I'm making videos about Paris and the French way of life. And as a French man living in Paris, I wanted to discuss today about Emily in Paris and all the clichés that we can find in this TV show. Maybe you discovered Paris because of Emily, maybe you moved to Paris because of Emily. So it's a show that spread a lot about the French culture and put the focus on Paris. And it's a great show for that. But for many French people, it's also a series full of clichés and stereotypes about the French, and sometimes not really good stereotypes. So I want to talk about it today, to see if they are true, what is fake, what is wrong in Emily in Paris. By the way, tell me in the comments if you like this TV show. I would love to know what is your opinion about it. Maybe if you follow this channel, you love Paris and you love the French way of life, and maybe you think that it's accurate or not. Tell me your opinion in the comments. The first thing that many people talk about when they see Emily in Paris is the apartment. Emily in Paris is living in the 5th arrondissement, a beautiful neighborhood. I remember I visited also the neighborhood to try a bakery just in front of it. It's a beautiful neighborhood. The apartment of Emily, it's not what everything can have in Paris. It can be difficult to find an apartment, especially if you are not French. And even for French people right now, I know many friends that are struggling to find an apartment. It's more and more difficult right now with the inflation, the fear of the landlords to rent their apartment to a young person. Maybe Emily has a really good salary. She looks like the little intern that is trying to find her way in an agency. But she has a good apartment in a beautiful neighborhood. This is not really accurate. If you are starting in a new company in France, usually you will have a really small studio. You won't have a lot of money. And I see many influencers talking about Paris. They live like the beautiful French way of life with the luxury and the palace hotel. And I'm also sharing that on Instagram. When I'm invited to the Royal Monceau to try some of their pastries, of course I'm also sharing an idea of the French way of life that is not really accurate to most of the people. But I see many people coming from the US, for example, becoming influencers in Paris and in France in general, and they don't really know the real life of French people and how people struggle a lot, and they don't really share that. So that's also what I want to do with this YouTube channel, to share with you the authentic French way of life. Talking about the apartment and the beautiful luxury life, not everyone is living next to a beautiful monument with the view and the Tour Eiffel. It's impossible to have an apartment with the view of the Tour Eiffel, except if you are really far away from the Tour Eiffel, or if you are really rich. In France, the apartments, usually it will cost a lot when it's a small one, but the more you put money and the bigger it will be. You can have a really small studio, but it will cost 800. That is quite a lot compared to other cities in France. But if you pay 1200, you will have a really good apartment where you can live with 2 people. And for 2K, 3K, you can have huge apartment, really luxury style apartment, and it's less expensive than New York City or London, for example. If I remember, London is more expensive. Tell me in the comments if you live in London. So even if it's less expensive than many big cities, it's still expensive in France because the salaries are not really high. The average salary is I don't know, 2K, something like that, by month. It's not what you can earn in a big company in the US, for example. What you can see in Emily in Paris is also the life of an agency. And I think it's quite accurate for some of the agencies, especially in the fashion business. Many agencies have their charismatic leaders, and also a lot of arrogance and contempt sometimes for the people that are working in the agencies. I remember there was a lot of scandal about agencies in Paris that were really, where the interns were struggling a lot to be respected, but the agency lifestyle is not as beautiful as we think. Of course, we have a lot of beautiful agencies and many people that love their work there, but it can also be really stressful for a lot of young people that are starting, especially in the fashion business. From all the people that I know that worked for a moment in the fashion business, it was really difficult and really disrespectful. Everyone was just judging each other. If you work in the fashion, tell me in the comments if you feel the same. Talking about the disrespect, the language also has a big place in Emily in Paris. If you come to France, maybe you will think that all the French people won't speak to you in English and they don't want to talk to you in English. They will make fun of you while speaking French because you can't understand. No, it's not really like that. It depends also of the industry and the job you have. Maybe in old industries it will be weird, but if you are like in a young company, many people can speak English, and it's also easier in Paris than in other cities in France to live when you don't speak in French and you just speak English. I think that the big problem is that when you only speak English in Paris, usually you will only have friends that are also from other countries, like other expats. Most of the French people already have their social circle and they won't change their language just for you. People will make an effort if you are here, but it can be difficult to be part of the group and to do all the events if you don't speak the language. But you have so many different expats that are living in Paris that you will find friends even if you don't speak French. In Emily in Paris, you can see all the French people that are smoking cigarettes all the time. It's a big cliché about French people. It was true a lot a few years ago. I think it's still true in many artistic industries, like in the cinema or in fashion, in art. Everyone is smoking a lot, doing their pause club, as we say, which means like the cigarette pause, the cigarette break. It's really a thing in many companies, but I think it's different now because as many people are independent or living in agencies, they don't take that much like a cigarette break during the job, so they won't be tempted to smoke a lot. And many young people are not smoking or they don't even start smoking when they are young. So I think that it's not that much a cliché anymore, but you can still find a lot of people smoking in the streets in Paris. It's still a thing. When you look at Emily when she comes to work, you maybe think that everyone is stylish like her. Emily, you are a young intern in a French company. You just moved to Paris. You are already wearing Chanel. Nobody is wearing big luxury clothes like that, except if you are really rich, you know. But most of the people that are living in Paris won't have the money for that, especially because the salaries are not really high and it's really expensive to live in big cities. People won't have the money for a big Chanel dress or a suit. But it's still true that you can find a lot of stylish people in Paris especially, because many people are in industries where the image, the self-image is important. So in Paris, you will find many people that are really well dressed. And you have sometimes some cafe. I was at a cafe called Buddy Buddy yesterday, and you come at Buddy Buddy, everyone is stylish. Not with luxury clothes, but everyone is stylish. So I think it's a true cliché about the French people that they are stylish in Paris, but not that much in other big cities. But we are not wearing big luxury clothes. This is not true. Most of the people are wearing like really casual clothes. Even if it's stylish a little bit, it's still casual. Let's finish with one of the big clichés about French people that you can see in Emily in Paris, the unfaithfulness of the French people in the relationship, especially in the love relationships. When you watch Emily in Paris, everyone is cheating on each other, nobody is loyal, nobody is faithful with their partners, and it looks like the French people are always like that. There is a big cliché about that. It's maybe because the marriage is not that important in France. Not everyone wants to be married. Many people want to have someone in their life but don't want to be married. It looks for many people just like an act in the identity card, you know, something just to share the money or for the taxes. It looks like that for many people that are not religious, for example. I don't really know people that just want to be married quick. And to talk a little bit more about the unfaithfulness, it's also not really true. Many people are loyal to their partners. This is like in every country. And I think it's maybe more famous in France that you can find unloyal and unfaithful people in relationships because we watch many movies talking about that. When we watch the movies in the 60s, you will see young people that are lost, they don't know which girl to choose. It's part of these movies and the vibe of the French way of life and the French casual relationships. You can find a lot of casual relationships, but also in many other countries. I think many young people don't want to get in a relationship like seriously, also because they are young. So they have to learn and they have to find their way in life, to find maybe a job or have a better apartment or better life or a better career, to think about getting settled in a relationship because they will have the money and the opportunity to do it. Most of the people that are not really focus on finding someone and being close to someone and having a partner for life, it's usually because those people are already trying to find themselves. So it's just a matter of time. So the unfaithfulness is also a cliche in French, even if you can see many people that are not really loyal to their partner, but it's not a thing in France. It's also the same in many other countries. To finish with a better cliche about Paris, you can see in Emily in Paris that everyone is talking about love, about relationships. I think it's a big thing also. Love is all around in Paris because it's the city of love. And even beside the cliche, it's still the city of love. You will see people that are holding hands, that are kissing each other in the street, on a bridge. You will see the beautiful Parisian life, the dates near the Seine River. It's really something that you will find in Paris. So the cliché about love are true. The cliché about unfaithfulness are not that much true. I hope you feel better. That's it for today's video about Emily in Paris and many clichés about French people. Tell me in the comments what you think about this TV show. Do you think that it's accurate, about French people, about the French people maybe you've met before? Tell me what you think about that in the comments. And if you have other clichés about French people, you can share them in the comments to discuss about it and to see if they are true. And of course, if you want to explore Paris and discover the French way of life, you can subscribe to this YouTube channel. I post every single day, so see you tomorrow.